I knew exactly what field I was going into and got myself hired in a clinic focused solely on pancreatic research so I could work towards a cure for diabetes. Over time, as I rose the ranks, I came to understand how the industry I was in actually operated. I found out why there was no cure to diabetes yet. Before we go on, I have to tell you, my name's David. The pharmaceutical companies are Goliath. They can crush me with their left finger for what I'm about to share. I know that. All I've got is my slingshot, and rock, and my faith. And call me crazy, but I figure if we hit 'em well, right between the eyes, they might just fall. With that said, we begin. Every crime has a smoking gun. What I'm going to share with you now is Big Pharma's diabetes smoking gun. This will be undeniable proof of the cover-up or willful ignorance by Big Pharma towards new research and development that would lead to a cure for diabetes. There are many smoking guns in this case, but I'll just focus on one particularly damning quote that we received directly from the mouths of the pharmaceutical company executives. The conversation I'm about to quote from was recorded, and it took place between an anonymous friend, partner, and an associate professor of medicine at Harvard University, and the chief operations manager of one of the top 3 pharmaceutical companies internationally. She presented him with promising research exploring the possibility of a vaccine, which, with their help, could become a cure for diabetes. Surprisingly, she met a lot of resistance, excuse after excuse as to why it's not going to happen. After a lot of hemming and hawing, she got frustrated and demanded to know what was really going on. The executive had a rare moment of honesty, at which point he said, "Ms., there just isn't enough money to be made in a cure that uses an inexpensive, generically available vaccine. Period." She was horrified at what she heard. Reading between the lines, he had just said, "Even though our company is worth billions, we can't sacrifice the money it would cost us to offer a cure to diabetes that could save millions of lives." This quote has actually been published online. Anyone can look it up. Unfortunately, we face this kind of talk all too often by those who claim to be champions of our health. Diabetes drugs, insulin, and medical devices such as insulin pumps, glucose monitors, and pricey test strips all add up to $245 billion in sales for the large pharma companies, according to the American Diabetes Association. In 2 years, a cure like the one my friend the professor wanted would make that $245 billion in revenue disappear. The sudden and massive loss in profits would cause the stock of all pharmaceutical companies to plummet as investors flock to tech or commodities, because apparently iPhones don't get cured and disappear. And now you know why we don't have a cure. Yes, seeing reality was a wake-up call, but I took it as a call to dig even deeper into my research, because the cure certainly wouldn't be coming with any help from them. My point of focus was type 1 diabetes, because that's what my father had. As you know, in type 1 cases, the pancreas is completely unable to produce any insulin. Under current thinking, there is no way that can be fixed. You can't bring a dead person back to life. You can't bring a dead pancreas to life. The solution for this was going to have to be out of the box. I created and nixed tens of theories, and in the end, my biggest help came out of my biggest enemy. Even though I knew they weren't on my side, I did still have a lot of interaction with the pharmaceutical companies for other reasons, and I made a close friend in one of the big 3, someone who was aware of what I was trying to do, and sincerely wanted to help even though his hands were mostly tied. He did not give me permission to give his name, so we'll call him Andy X. Andy X had access to high-level meetings between corporate and their team of scientists, and on one particular day the topic of their discussion was diabetes. I get a call from him the day after the meeting. He says, "David, I have good news and bad news. We met with the diabetes scientists today. I showed them your article in the Diabetes Spectrum to get their take on it. They said that the theory is flawed," and he proceeded to explain why it won't work. That hurt. But what was the good news? "The good news is," he said, "is that they have had the answer." "The answer?" "Yes, you know, the cure." "You're kidding. They have it?" "Yes, for years, actually. They've just been not able to test and produce it because the higher-ups won't allow it. They asked if maybe you could find a way to get it done." I said, "Of course I will. But what's their angle?" Andy said, "Okay, I could lose my job for saying this, but it's going to save so many lives, so I've decided to do it." He said, "David, research the liver and IGF as a replacement to insulin, and be sure you're consistent." He said a lot more than that, but that was basically the gist of it. IGF. Interesting. This was out of the scope of my expertise. But after a little research, I got the hang of it, and to me, IGF sounded very, very promising. After all, just look at what IGF stands for. It stands for insulin-like growth factor. In other words, it works very much like insulin does. I discovered it functions like our backup supply when insulin runs on empty, a backup supply that wasn't really being tapped. I was onto something, but was it really powerful enough to do insulin's job? I ran the numbers, and I was saddened. Turns out IGF didn't have even 5% of the glucose regulating power of insulin. Why did these scientists over there think replacing 5% of insulin is such a big deal? I didn't give up, though. It dawned upon me that he had added the strange phrase, "Be sure you're consistent." What did that mean? I decided to give things a second look. What was inconsistent about what I was doing? Turns out I had made a mistake. I wasn't comparing the two hormones properly. I was using different units of measurement. Doctors everywhere were making this same mistake that I did. I wonder how many other doctors made this mistake. When I made the proper conversions and began to compare them properly, I got shivers. Turns out, IGF provides way more glucose metabolizing power than I thought. In fact, its power to regulate glucose was more than insulin by a full 100 times. This was revolutionary. Now I knew why those scientists thought this was such a big deal. The entire time we've been trying to treat type 1 diabetics and even type 2 diabetics, our main focus was on the wrong organ and the wrong chemical. Fact is, my research revealed, just a small increase in IGF takes almost all the burden off the pancreas. I knew right there and then, if IGF was this powerful, we only need to find an effective way to increase the amount of IGF in the system, and we could stabilize blood sugar levels in just days, and ultimately reverse diabetes type 2. What was even more exciting for me was that this would even work on diabetics with type 1. Even though your pancreas may no longer be operable, that's irrelevant. We're working with a completely different hormone, other than insulin, that is now regulating your sugar. That means type 1 diabetics now have a chance. Now all we needed was a way to control the IGF levels. We knew we had to take the natural route, because Big Pharma would block any drug we tried to come out with. So we went on an old-fashioned expedition, in search for any substance that increased IGF. We traveled the world, testing hundreds of different combinations and cocktails of hundreds of different compounds. Compounds taken from all over the world, including but not limited to India, Southern Asia, Africa, and South America. We chemically studied each of these substances in all their combinations to gauge their reaction to IGF production. We spun the roulette wheel hundreds of times until we came upon the combination that got the most noticeable results, the fastest. And we never expected how fast it would actually be. What we saw with our optimal blend was a 32% increase in IGF levels in just 8 hours. We only needed 20% to reach our targets, and we were getting 32. Glucose metabolism up by 216% on the very first day. When we saw the test results, we literally jumped out of our chairs and started dancing. We were tired, but it didn't matter. We all knew what we were witnessing was history in the making, and we were part of it. The answer to diabetes was literally in front of us. It was the vaccine we'd all been waiting for, every bit as powerful, but without the vaccine. You're probably asking yourself, what happened when we gave the solution to real people suffering from diabetes? Let's find out now.
Hey, my name is Carol. I'm from Chicago, and I have had type 1 diabetes since I was born. It runs in our family, and it's just something I've had to struggle with for pretty much my entire life. No matter what I've tried in the past, I have never really been able to get my sugar under control. Even with taking my insulin, my sugar was always high. That was until I found your program, and I am telling you, I cannot believe how well it's worked. I thank God every day that I found it, and I am completely off of my medication now. My sugar is under control, and I have even slowly started to experiment with adding new foods back into my diet, like even cakes and cookies, and my sugar has remained steady. So I have to say thank you, Dr. Pearson. Thank you so much.
And for type 2 diabetics, the results are even more exciting. Since the IGF will reduce the need for insulin, your pancreas doesn't need to work as hard. This allows the pancreas to regenerate itself, become revitalized, and return to normal functioning. Like this.
Hey there, I'm Michael Gurrell, and I am a type 2 diabetic. I was a type 2 diabetic, and And only about 1 day into the program, I thought, well, let's take a look. And so I checked my glucose reading, and I thought that the meter was broken. It was at 118, and that was down by 100 points from the day before. And anyway, this is really a way to treat diabetes, I think. You have certainly convinced me. I think that this is going to save a lot of lives. So this is my video to you, Dr. Pearson, and I just wanted to thank you so much. Okay, bye.
You're welcome, Michael. As you can see, IGF really can do the job 100 times better than insulin, and that is why you're seeing these impossible results so incredibly fast. If you want to experience these exact same results for yourself, if you want to eliminate all your diabetic symptoms, treat diabetes from the source, and do it all in just days, all you need is 3 things: the right information, the right program, and the right ingredients. And in just a moment, you're going to get all 3 basically for free. You will actually be able to begin the healing process within the hour in the program you're going to receive, because you are about to learn an exact system tailor-made for you that will increase IGF production exponentially and 100% naturally. This process will repair your liver from the inside out, clearing it of any damage it has sustained over the years. Hint: we all have liver damage to some extent. Healing the liver is critical to increasing IGF levels and restoring optimal blood sugar levels quickly, which will reverse your diabetes. But this won't just solve your diabetes problem, it will solve every aspect of your health. IGF happens to be a cousin of another hormone called the growth hormone. Growth hormone levels will also increase with the increase in IGF, which will offer side benefits such as a slowdown in the general aging process and increased metabolism, so weight comes off faster and more easily. There are hundreds of other wonderful benefits, which I don't even have time to go into right now. Just rest assured, increased growth hormone will make you feel like a new man or woman once you start using this program. The course makes doing all this brain-dead simple in a friendly, fun, and easy step-by-step program, which we simply call Diabetes Free. For the first time in history, a treatment is available that actually gets results, and in just 14 days, with a completely safe, completely natural solution with no side effects. The program, which was created by myself and my research team, is the product of over 3 years of testing and research. We saw countless diabetic patients significantly reduce their need for medication far sooner than our doctors ever thought possible. We instantly knew it had to get out to all 4 corners of the earth. This course you're about to receive takes all of the guesswork out of this process of reversing diabetes. It's confusion-free, guaranteed. It will tell you exactly what to eat every single meal, and you will be very surprised at how delicious all of it is. It will introduce you to new, rare, exotic compounds your body has been begging for since the day you became diabetic. There are no pills to swallow. You will consume these compounds in delicious shakes your whole family will love. These take minutes to make and will leave you feeling absolutely fantastic moments after you drink them. And don't underestimate it. The shakes are powerful. Our real concern here is not that your blood sugar would fall too slow, but that it will fall too fast. We have numerous precautions in place to ensure that doesn't happen, but the speed in which your diabetes is reversed will still shock you. The course operates on a few levels, which all work synergistically